A very good evening and thank you for joining us here on this edition of the English News on Rwanda Television. Let's begin with the headlines. Following the recent pension reforms in Rwanda, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente emphasized that the decision was made by the government of Rwanda, not the Rwanda Social Security Board as an entity. Rwanda's economy shows promising signs of increased domestic production, which is expected to narrow the trade deficit between imports and exports. On the international scene, as landmark climate change court case reaches its halfway mark in The Hague, clear divisions have emerged over whether nation-states can be held legally liable for damage caused to global climate system by greenhouse gas emissions. My name is Olive Nete. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Happy Friday. Let's dive in. Following the recent pension reforms in Rwanda, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente emphasized that the decision was made by the government of Rwanda, not the Rwanda Social Security Board, RSSB, as an entity. He highlighted that the government's priority is to ensure the welfare of its citizens. Prince Manzi kicks us off tonight.
In the press conference on Friday, 3 months after his presentation of the NST to both chambers of the Rwandan parliament, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente affirmed that the government will continue to prioritize citizens' welfare to maintain the development of the country's economy on a 9% rate annually and creation of 250,000 jobs annually. On the new pension reforms, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente reiterated that the decisions taken by the government are always in favor of citizens, adding that as the life expectancy ameliorates, it is possible for people to live years in pension equaling to years spent in employment phase. This is where the government of Rwanda realized that as a Rwandan is going to live longer, he or she should not age while struggling, rather live a decent life. We found that it is only possible if we save up. We urge Rwandans to bear with this. The media also rose a concern of employers that already set their year's financial budget, and yet reforms came in media rising from 6% to 12%. Here, Prime Minister replied that the government is ready to support companies struggling to adapt. We are a government that follow up on the issues citizens have. We are aware of institutions that will not be able to support their employees, but we have a mechanism of supporting them while also following up on their financial capacities. What we want is them to declare well. In the last 15 years, Rwanda's economy continued to grow on a 7% rate, and the GDP per capita grew from $700 to $1,040 in the last 7 years.
Thank you, Prince, for the details. Now, moving ahead, Rwanda's economy shows promising signs of increased domestic production, which is expected to narrow the trade deficit between imports and exports. This was highlighted by the Prime Minister, Dr. Edouard Ngirente, during the press briefing. He explained that in recent years, Rwanda has successfully attracted investors who have established new industries. The initial phase of setting up these industries required importing construction materials and equipment, which significantly contributed to the rise in imports. However, the Prime Minister noted that soon Rwanda will start reaping the benefits of these newly established industries, reducing dependency on imports. He also emphasized that the agriculture sector plays a crucial role in boosting domestic production, further cutting down on imports. The government has implemented strong measures to strengthen this sector. Reducing the trade deficit is part of the government's strategy to stabilize the Rwandan franc on the foreign exchange market and mitigate the pressure of inflation on the economy. According to the National Bank of Rwanda, the Rwandan franc depreciated by 8% as of November this year, and inflation stands at 4.6%, which the central bank considers manageable, as this idea range is between 2% and 8%. Now, moving ahead to other matters, the government of Rwanda has reaffirmed its commitment to fostering unity and resilience, emphasizing that the resignation of leaders does not constitute a national crisis. These points were also highlighted by Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente during the press briefing today on Friday. The Prime Minister stated that the government has zero tolerance for genocide ideology, stressing its dedication to safeguarding the progress made in promoting national unity and reconciliation. Regarding the frequent resignations of some leaders, Dr. Ngirente clarified that this should not be viewed as a crisis. He noted that leadership resignations can result from various reasons, including the inability to uphold unity among Rwandans or failure to deliver quality services to the public. In recent weeks, some districts have witnessed incidents of violence targeting genocide survivors, including killings and harassment. Additionally, there have been notable resignations of local leaders in Karongi and Rusizi districts located in Rwanda's western province. To other matters, farmers and agro-dealers have expressed appreciation for their partnership with the Rwanda Fertilizer Company, a fertilizer manufacturing plant located in Bugesera District Economic Zone. During a recent visit to the factory, they observed the production process of the NPK 1717 fertilizer, a blend of DAP, MOP, and urea and lime. This fertilizer, tailored to the country's soil data, has been credited with significantly boosting agricultural yields, and to support their efforts, the company awarded the 3 agro-dealers with leaf funds and distributed 17 smartphones to farmers and agro-dealers. These tools aim to enhance their productivity and collaboration with farmers. The managing director highlighted the company's broader mission, which extends beyond providing agricultural inputs to include offering additional services to the population.
Today is very key moments in our journey, because we are gathering those partners to say to them, Rwanda Fertilizer Company, through OCP collaboration, is here to support them, not only with fertilizers, but also we can propose more, like soil testing, analysis for them. Since this year, we have started a very huge program, which is called OCP School Lab, that do soil analysis and testing for farmers, so they get to know their soil profile, to know what is needed for this soil, and which fertilizer it is needed. And the fertilizer needed is produced here.
The Rwanda Fertilizer Company currently produces and sells fertilizers like DAP and urea, while planning to introduce other soil-specific fertilizer types with an annual production capacity of 1,100 tons. The company is well positioned to meet Rwanda's fertilizer demands. Moving ahead, tonight in our news, we are happy to have Sarah Munyi, communications and leadership expert, in our studio. Sarah will be hosting the East African Public Speaking Convention this Saturday, December 7th. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Olive.
Yes, I'll start by asking you this. Can you begin by telling our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living?
Fantastic. Sarah Munyi is my name, and I am a leadership and communications expert. I help people overcome the fear of public speaking. I help people be able to know that they can lead, that they have the ability to lead, and they just need to build the capacity to lead. Now, the language of leadership is communication. You cannot lead well if you cannot communicate well. For you as a leader, as a professional, as an entrepreneur, even as a student, you cannot do very well in your profession, in your expertise, in your career, if you cannot communicate well. And so that is why we are having this convention, to make people know that it's good to work on your communication skills. And you know what, even if you think you're a great communicator, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. You can always do better. You can always get out of comfort zones and do better, and so that you can speak for impact and with influence.
Now, moving ahead, tomorrow you have the East Africa Public Speaking Convention. Can you tell us a bit about this conference, and why should professionals and entrepreneurs attend it?
First of all, I'm so excited that we are hosting the East Africa Public Speaking Convention here in Kigali, Rwanda. Rwanda is beautiful, and Visit Rwanda is huge, and that is why we are here. We think that it's important for entrepreneurs and professionals to attend the conference, because first, you need to build confidence. For you as a leader, for you as an entrepreneur, for you as a professional, it's important for you that you build confidence, because if you can be able to communicate well, you can be able to stand before people and articulate your vision. You can articulate, you're even showing your expertise in whatever it is, whether you're a lawyer, you need to have good communication skills. So we want to encourage entrepreneurs and professionals to attend. I mean, anyone who you feel that you want to do better in your career, you want to do better in your craft, whatever it is that you do, this will be a great conference for you. And then I want to say this: when Martin Luther stood in Washington in that fateful day of August 1963 and said, "I have a dream," that is what made us remember Martin Luther, not because he was fighting for the civil rights, that was great, but we remember him for that one speech that he made. Public speaking has the power of turning a common man into a statesman. And so if you can be able to stand before people, you speak with impact and influence, and you can be able to move people, you can be able to get the best out of a speech, I think that would be a great way for you to get ahead in your business and in your career.
Now let's come back to public speaking itself. What are the qualities public speakers should strive to develop?
Yes.
You know, and how do you, as a life coach, help clients to attain those qualities?
Sure. The first thing is that every public speaker needs to know that they're a researcher. Because when you stand before people, we want to hear two things. We want to hear what you know and how much of it you know. How much of it is your expertise? People want to listen to an intelligent person, for sure. And we feel safe when we feel like, oh, somebody, we have an expert. We feel safe and we relax. And so you need to develop your research skills. And in this day and age, we are in the 21st century. You better know what you know, and you better know what you're speaking about, because we can chat GPT anything. Whatever it is you're talking about, we're going to be correcting you and giving you counter arguments. So you need to research very well. And whatever you're speaking about, can it be backed by statistics? If you have, so they can reinforce your point. Do you have a story that you can share that can reinforce? A public speaker is a researcher. This is what is giving you the right to stand before people, because if you don't have a message, you sit down. You shouldn't stand before people, for sure. That's the quality number one. You need to be a great researcher. Quality number two is confidence. You cannot really persuade us in anything you're speaking about if you don't have confidence. If you are full of anxiety and you are forgetting what to say and you're making all the mistakes, you have nervousness, we also doubt. You know, the audience also start doubting what you're saying. Even if you're an expert and you know what you're speaking about, but there's no confidence to back it up, we are also not sure about it as the audience. And so confidence is another skill that we need to master as an entrepreneur and as a public speaker. Every public speaker is a confident person. The other quality, and the last one, is the ability to be able to do audience analysis. To be able to know, who am I speaking to? And so that when I speak to them, I'm relevant. When I'm speaking to youth, I can speak the same message to youth, but I will deliver it differently to another audience, like in a church. Because I have to put in mind, who am I speaking to? And together with that, in the same breath, I want to say, you also need to have wisdom, discretion, understanding, so that you know, what do I say when, to who? We need to know that. Otherwise, the people who don't have that wisdom, and you get yourself into trouble, because you shouldn't have said that. You didn't have the wisdom or even the discretion to know, this can be said here, this cannot be said here. We need to have that kind of wisdom as a public speaker. Those are some three of the, I would say, the foundational qualities you need to have as a public speaker.
So how do you, as a life coach, help these people attain those qualities that we have just talked about?
First of all, I want you to know, as a speaker, nobody knows that you feel the fear. We want, first of all, to deal with the fear, because the fear only exists here in the mind. Let's destroy it from there. That's the first thing. Nobody knows that you feel the fear, so don't show it. And the audience is not expecting you to feel. First of all, we want to know, let you know that nobody knows you have the fear, so don't show it. The audience is not expecting you to feel. Actually, we feel there's a reason as to why it is Olive who is speaking and not us. So we are expecting the best. Please don't fail us. So nobody knows you have it. The other thing that we help you is to be able to deal with that anxiety, whatever anxiety you have, be able to assist you in how you research, how do you build a message for any audience. We help assist you with that, because one of the greatest fears that people have in public speaking is, what if I forget what to say? What if I have an audience of, maybe it's presidents, or maybe it is, leaders. And this is an audience I've never seen before, or I've never addressed before. What if I forget what to say? What if I make a fool out of myself? And so we can handle this with showing you how you can build your message for any audience, even for new audiences that you have not handled. Because you may be a great speaker to a certain kind of an audience until you face a different kind of an audience. Maybe you have a group of lawyers. This is an expert audience. You've never spoken to a group of lawyers or a group of doctors before, and you find you have the fear. So we help you to be able to know, how do you build a message for any audience? And two, how do you deal with that anxiety? And of course, number three, how do you deliver with impact so that you are even memorable? because you may know what to say, you may have the confidence, but then you are not impactful at all. As a matter of fact, you're boring. You know, how do you speak with impact so that even if there were 5 panelists there, we know who we came to listen to, and we know it's you that we remember because you are impactful and you are influential.
Yeah, Sarah, as we come to the end of our interview, I would like to know, is this the first edition of the East Africa Public Speaking Convention, or if not, what is new about this particular edition of this year? And also, is there anything you would love to share with our viewers before we close?
Yeah, so this is, I would say this is the first, although we have been doing a lot of build-up in Nairobi. We have done a lot of build-up, I think, from January, because we host this in Nairobi on a monthly basis. And then we said at the end of the year, we're going to crown it all in Kigali with an East Africa Public Speaking Convention. So I'll say this is a culmination of a work that has been going on. And we are excited about it. And of course, the other thing I want to say is that every public speaker is a leader. If you're a public speaker, you need to know that you're a leader. Every public speaker is an influencer. You need to know you're influencing an idea. And the last thing, every public speaker is a dealer in hope. You need to know that I don't care what you're speaking about global warming, you're speaking about climate change, adaptation and mitigation, you're speaking about leadership, you're speaking about communication. Ultimately, you're selling hope. Every public speaker is a dealer in hope. Please do not leave us at a valley. Show us the gravitas of the issues that are at hand with the climate change, and then take us up to the mountain, leave us at a place of hope. That way you dignify people, you give people hope, because we need to give people, everybody needs hope. Leave us at the mountaintop with hope.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing your valuable insights with us today, and we wish you a successful conference tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, moving ahead, Business Development Fund, which facilitates access to financing for small and medium-sized enterprises, has launched a program titled Birashobokana BDF, loosely translated as It is Possible with BDF. This initiative aims to promote BDF services and accelerate their accessibility to various beneficiaries. The program is designed to expand service provision to entrepreneurs, contributing to national economic growth and the development of Rwandans. Speaking on the initiative, Bene Gusenga Annette, the representative of youth and women in the Rwanda Private Sector Federation, highlighted the fund's critical role in supporting the private sector. BDF CEO Vincent Munyeshyaka acknowledged that limited awareness of the fund's activities has hindered its impact, underscoring the need for improved information dissemination. The campaign or the initiative It is Possible with BDF program will run for 3 months, covering all districts in Rwanda to ensure widespread engagement and awareness. Tomorrow news, on Friday, MTN Rwanda, in partnership with Tecno, launched a festive promotion offering gifts to customers who purchase Tecno phones. Rene Nzawakira, Senior Manager for Devices and Digital at MTN Rwanda, stated that the promotion is a gesture of appreciation to customers for their continued support throughout the year. Mucho Edi, Tecno's marketing manager, explained that the gifts will be distributed in 2 categories: instant small gifts upon purchase and larger gifts awarded later. The promotion, aligned with the upcoming Christmas season, will run from December 7, 2024 to January 4th, 2025. To participate, customers must purchase a Tecno phone and be an MTN subscriber. Countries have been urged to collaborate in addressing the growing threat of malaria exacerbated by climate change, and this call action was made during a week-long gathering of scientists from 19 African nations under the Francophonie community held in Musanze district, Rwanda. The workshop, hosted at Ines Ruhengeri Higher Learning Institution, focused on the interplay between climate change and the rising prevalence of malaria. While many African nations are experiencing an increase in malaria cases, Rwanda shared its successful initiatives in reducing infections and fatalities, as highlighted by Mukashema Clarisse from the Malaria Control Department at the Rwanda Biomedical Center. Veronica Nozeda, the head of research at Expertise France, emphasized the urgency of integrating climate change considerations into malaria control strategies. The workshop, which started on Monday and concluded this Friday, provided a platform for exchanging knowledge and strategies to strengthen regional efforts in combating malaria across the continent. Now to other matters, Equity Bank has concluded a training program designed to enhance the knowledge and skills of high-achieving students. A total of 72 students who excelled in the national high school examinations will now embark on professional internships at various Equity Bank branches. This initiative, part of the Equity Leaders Program, has been running for 4 years, and it aims to build the capacity of top-performing secondary school students by preparing them for university and equipping them with practical experience. The program recruits 2 students, 1 male and 1 female, from each district. Many of the selected students expressed their pride in joining the program, which not only provides them with internships, but also supports their continued education at the university. Equity Bank Rwanda's Managing Director, Namara Hannington, emphasized that the program is designed to nurture future leaders as part of the bank's commitment to community development.
Our purpose for this program is to build leaders of the future, is to equip leaders of the future with the requisite knowledge, skills, and knowledge to be able to lead, to monitor, to execute programs that will lead to socioeconomic transformation. We as a bank, we are about socioeconomic transformation. That's the reason why we make investments in this program, intended to create leaders who will be transformative in thinking and in doing.
Moving ahead, research conducted on extracurricular activities such as sports, entertainment, dance, debates, and other school-based programs, alongside academic, has shown that they contribute to a 51% increase in productivity. These activities equip students with additional skills essential in the job market. This study, carried out by the Institute of Policy Analysis and Research, focused on extracurricular activities like sports, entertainment, music and dance, debates, community service, and volunteering. Abi Anibeni, a university student, has confirmed the importance of such activities for students.
We are, especially in university, you want to be employed later, you want to work with people later, and extra and co-curricular activities give you skills that you were never going to get elsewhere unless you actually did something during that time. And on the questions regarding my school, at my university we do have extracurricular activities. I actually happen to be a member of the debate club at my school, and it's really important because you get to meet these new people from different countries, but you also get to be in a place where you can think, you can speak, and actually do more than you were doing in class.
School leaders such as Samuel Nkurunziza, the headmaster of Kagarama Secondary School, have also expressed support for expanding these activities to all schools due to their benefits. However, they emphasized the need to address existing challenges first.
It is important for learners because when students are engaging in extracurricular activities, they can develop their personal skills, and when they graduate from school, from high school, they can even get employment outside just because maybe they get those trainings, they got those skills in schools. So they are very important for learners to develop those skills at an early age.
EPAR's research highlights that extracurricular activities open employment opportunities for high school and vocational students by accelerating development through the additional skills gained. However, it also stresses the need for awareness campaigns to address gaps in these programs.
Actually understand the contribution of the core and extracurricular activities. And the findings of the study indicate that these core and extracurricular activities highly contribute to the success of the students after school, especially in getting jobs. And because of, especially when you look at the attitudes of the people that go through this, the capacity to speak, the capacity to discuss, the capacity to integrate, the positive attitude, these contribute actually to the employability of our youth. So there is a lot concerning challenges, a number of challenges that we found out. One is the lack of enough resources. we do not have enough resources to support the core and extracurricular activities. We do not have football enough. Yeah, they are, but they are not enough. There are good policies and strategies in place, but still they lack, the ownership and then resources, enough resources to put up support for these extracurricular and co-curricular activities. And then in teachers' skills, we still lack skills. That we do not have enough teachers, well-trained teachers to teach these co and extracurricular activities. Parents do not understand. So there are a number of challenges that are really coming out of this study.
As landmark climate change court case reaches its halfway mark in The Hague, clear divisions have emerged over whether nation states can be held legally liable for damage caused by the global climate system by greenhouse gas emissions. VOA has more.
After a week of hearings at the United Nations top court in The Hague, the battle lines are clearly drawn. The 15 judges are being asked to give an opinion on whether international law applies to states' responsibilities to stop climate change and to address the damage caused. Small island and coastal states argue their very existence is at stake, and so international human rights law must apply. Big polluters, they say, must be held responsible.
Territories are disappearing, livelihoods are being destroyed, fundamental rights are being violated as we speak.
But the big polluters, including the United States, China and India, argue that only global climate change agreements have any legal relevance. Human rights, they argue, don't apply.
In rendering its advisory opinion, the court may exercise due caution to avoid devising new or additional obligations beyond what is already agreed under the existing climate change regime.
Many bigger polluting nations fear the consequences if the court advises that human rights laws do apply to climate change, says analyst Elena Kosolapova.
Under the law of state responsibility, any breach of an international obligation, known as an internationally wrongful act, entails certain consequences. And many vulnerable countries have highlighted this during the hearings. The responsible state is obligated to make reparations for the injury caused by the wrongful act.
Those reparations could take the form of compensation.
Compensation was explicitly excluded from the loss and damage talks under the Convention and from the Paris Agreement itself. So I think it would be very interesting to see what the court has to say about it.
The judges will hear another week of evidence.
Now that wraps up today's bulletin. Thank you for joining us for today's broadcast. On behalf of the entire news team, we wish you a restful weekend. Stay safe.